Hello guys, welcome to Voice of Telugu. So today we are with great hacker and is well known as Zero Day. So it doesn't need introduction. Is one of the best hackers in the world. I'm going to ask you some questions. So I collected these questions from my subscribers. First, let me ask my first question.
Sure, go ahead.
So who is Zero Day?
Okay, so Zero Day is me. I don't hide my name, so my name is Ryan Montgomery. I created the alias or name Zero Day actually as a challenge to myself, because I'll get into this later on, but before getting heavily involved in the hacking communities and getting to where I am now, I was internet marketing and doing a thing called affiliate marketing, which all of that, it combines with paid advertising or search engine optimization, which can be free or paid. That was mostly what I did as a kid and young adult. So when I decided to name myself Zero Day, it was just a goal to potentially rank on Google and other search engines for that term, which I knew would be very difficult, and I achieved that. So that's where Zero Day came from. And then as time went on, I guess the term became more relevant.
So let me ask you my second question. How do you get started your career?
So which career would you want to start with? Because I've been hacking since I was a child.
Yes. I want to know about your hacking career.
Okay, so I started playing with computers as a very young kid. I'm 28 years old. In July I'll be 29. So back when I was 12, 13 years old, I would say approximately, I started to play with computers and hack payphones, which if some of you aren't aware, are phones that used to be out in public or in public places that you would pay for phone calls. You'd have to put coins into the phone and dial a number, and when you would start running out of minutes, you would have to put more coins in to continue your phone call. And back then, what's it called? I don't know how to explain this where it'll make complete sense, but I'll just skip to the next point of it. Was the first thing that I hacked was payphones, and there was different tones that you could put into the phone that would mimic or imitate the sound of a coin being put into it, which they had different machines back then called blue boxes, orange boxes, and all kinds of different boxes. They were just packed together electronics that made tones, and those tones would add credits to a payphone, and that was super interesting to me. At that time, I found this community called 2600, which still exists today, and they call it phone phreaking. So they're still actively phone phreaking and building old phone systems and hacking them. So from there, I got very interested in computers. I got interested in phone systems, and I met a ton of people in the hacking community through IRC, which was an old way to chat, and through online forums. So back then there weren't the resources that there is today. There wasn't Google or any of the search engines, AOL even back then. If you looked up XSS or bug bounty, it just didn't exist. Those terms didn't exist back then on search engines. You had to know people that knew other people or be in communities to learn. And I had that drive, I guess, at such a young age to ask questions to everybody that I possibly could. That if somebody was good at cable box hacking or modem hacking, which was a real thing back then, I would try to figure out who that person was, befriend them, learn what I could, and then meet their friends, and then so on and so on. And to reiterate what I was just saying, I started very young and created my network very young, and haven't stopped since. So like I said, well, I started at around 12, 13. So yeah, it'd be about 18 years of just hacking prior to the career. So the career is really just beginning, to be honest. So I started a company called pentester.com, and we're in the process of a redesign right now, and we're adding a module for asset management. So anybody that's watching this that checks out Pentester, if the date on the video is anywhere near right now, within the next couple months, the site should be changed and should be, a different trajectory. So yeah, that really is my career at this point. I'm trying to build it. Start owning my own cybersecurity business. I do find it pretty cool that I own the domain name pentester.com, and I don't want to put that domain name to waste.
Okay, do you providing any trainings in that pentest.com?
Well, so my business partners and I have been thinking about what we're going to do outside of our vulnerability scanner, and we had a couple ideas, obviously, but one of those ideas was creating a mentorship program that not only I would be involved in, but other people in the InfoSec community could sign up for, and beginners or even people that are already talented or, I guess, have a foot in this field. Maybe they're good at something very specific, but they want to talk to somebody else who is good at something else. You could pay for that time and join our mentorship program. So we didn't build that yet. That's just an idea. But I get asked constantly to mentor people, and I love helping. But I think it would be a good idea to make an actual program out of it.
Okay, it's a good opportunity for beginners, I think so.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to help anybody, and I do. I mean, if you send me messages on Discord, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere you can find me, as long as you're not just sending me hi or something really random, I'll get back to you. It's really about just asking the right questions. Just ask me a complete question, and I'll get back to you. And if you need more than just that question, then we'll carry on with the conversation. That is something I want to put out there, and a lot of people. I mean, I get a ton of messages every day, and I would say 80% of them are just, "Hey, hello, sir, hi, big fan." All these weird messages, and I appreciate them, but I don't know how to respond to them, especially at the amount that I'm getting.
Yes. I think you are a great hacker, right? That's why you are getting a lot of messages.
Well, I appreciate that. It's I definitely deal with imposter syndrome. I brought that up on the HomSec stream not long ago. So everybody says very nice things about me, but I feel like there's plenty of people that are a lot better than I am out there.
You are on top one in Tryhackme.
Yeah, on Tryhackme, and I've been around for a long time. I do
you
realize.
Didn't discuss about that.
What did you say?
You didn't discuss about that. You are on top one in Tryhackme.
Oh yeah, so
let my subscribers know about it.
Yeah, well, if you don't know, Tryhackme is a platform for learning, and also has a competitive side to it. It seems recently they've been changing their site around a little bit more towards beginners and businesses and schools to learn about cybersecurity. But when I started with CTFs, I started with pentesterlab.com, which is basically all web attacks. And after I was done that, I asked the person that told me about that site. I said, well, what do I do from here? Where do I continue doing this? I was having fun, and he told me about Tryhackme. So I joined Tryhackme, and I noticed that 3 days a week there was challenges being released, and if you were the first one to solve them, you would get more points than everyone else, which they call them blood points. So for 7 months straight, I was blooding every box that came out. And I was, jumping up the ranks very fast. And before I knew it, I was number one in the United States. And then, a couple months went by, and then I was number one in the world. And now I think the platform has, almost 1.1 million users. So, yeah, still maintaining number one. And I've been actively doing anything that's being released. But CTFs and hacking, they have a lot in common, but you need to know a little more. And I guess some CTFs are realistic, and some are I would consider hacker riddles.
Okay. Let me go for my third question. Is it compulsory to learn programming to become a hacker?
Well, this is a question I get asked a lot as well, and I can tell you that there were times in my
Even
life where
even I have doubt. Sorry to interrupt you. Even I
oh
have doubt.
yeah. So at one point in my life I thought that I needed to be a great programmer to be a great hacker, and it definitely complements hacking, but it is not required. I do think what you should, if you're planning to, advance yourself in this field, I think it's important to learn the important, languages, Python, JavaScript, and anything new that comes out after this. But Python and JavaScript is where I would start if you're a beginner. Just learn the basics. Learn what a for loop is. Learn what the request library does. Learn how to make a function in a couple different languages, and take it from there. Google is your friend, and you do not have to be a full stack developer to be a hacker. It's nice for static code analysis and all of the things that would go along with that, but it's not something that I'm personally into, and I wouldn't if somebody was trying to work for me and they showed me on their resume that they're a full stack developer but they have no experience in cybersecurity, it wouldn't be an attractive offer for me.
Okay. Even I started my career from Python.
Understood. Yeah. Well, I mean, Python is a good language to learn. It's a pretty simple language to learn, and the documentation is ridiculous. I mean, I don't think there's any language out there that's documented better than Python.
Okay. So let me go for my fourth question. Is it compulsory to have a computer science degree to become a hacker?
Absolutely not. But it's a personal choice. I don't have a computer science degree. I could go into a whole story about my past, but some of you may already know that. I don't have any degree. I don't have any. I don't even personally support the. I guess it's not that I don't support. I guess let me rephrase that. I don't think it's required to have a degree or a certification to prove yourself. I think it's important to know people in the industry, and I think it's important to show that you're capable of things, not only with your mouth, but with your projects and and your work. So I think that is more valuable than a degree or a certification.
Okay. So another question. So what are your tips to the people who are preparing for CH exam?
Okay, so CEH is not as popular in my country. I'm in the United States.
Okay.
So I don't know. I can't give you an exact template of what you should be doing, but I can give you a generalized idea. And really, this goes back to Tryhackme. I don't know if you're familiar, but there's learning paths on Tryhackme.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're trying to get your CEH or you're trying to get any other certification, I would highly suggest that you sign up for Tryhackme. You join the pre-security path. After you're done that one, which should take you a couple hours, do the complete beginner path, and you could follow along from easy to hard. And I believe if you're a student, Tryhackme is $8 a month, US dollars, and if you don't have a student email, it's $10 US. And if you don't have the money to do either, there's some blogs out there that put together paths for you for boxes that are challenges, boxes, rooms are all the same thing, that are free, that you don't have to be a paid subscriber to do. So feel free to Google free path Tryhackme, and you'll see that there's plenty available there too, for the people that can't afford it.
Okay. So do you have any tips for OSCP?
The same as CEH. There actually is a path on Tryhackme. I keep bringing them up, but it's a perfect answer for this. There is an offensive security path there, and there's another great hacker named TJ Null. And if you were to Google TJ Null OSCP, you'll see a ton of pictures pop up, and it'll tell you the challenges that you need to complete to be ready for the OSCP. As well as when you actually pay for the exam, they assign you with they're called PWKs, and they'll give you access to labs, and they give you, I believe it's 90 days in the labs, and if you spend the time the right way doing the labs, you shouldn't have any problem getting your OSCP, especially combining that with Tryhackme and the other resources out there.
Okay. So, is it compulsory to have a certification?
Like I said, that's going to be subjective. I personally do not believe so. I would hire somebody based upon the skill that I've seen, or if I was referred by someone else that I trust, I would make a hire solely on that with no certifications. But some companies do require them, so it's up to you.
Okay. So, what is your pen testing methodology?
So pen testing, do you mean overall, or do you
Yes, yes,
mean red
overall,
teaming, or
overall.
I mean, okay, so pen testing and red teaming, and there's a ton of terms in this industry, and they all mean different things. So I'm just going to take the pen testing methodology as like, what would I do at the start of an engagement? Would that be a better way to word it?
Okay.
Okay, so the most
So,
important thing that you need to get good at when you're starting is recon,
okay.
and you need to understand which tool sets are out there to automate your recon, or enumeration is a different term, but I like the term recon. So I'll give an example. So let's say we're working with a Linux server running Apache that has WordPress on it. So the first things that I'm going to do is I'm going to scan that server for subdomains. I'm going to see, if there's anything that exists there, if there's a dev.website.com, a prod.website.com. I'm going to see if there's anything there that they forgot about, or may have some old software on it, or sensitive credentials, or whatever I may find, and with subdomains. So I always check for subdomains first. After that, I'm gonna use Wappalizer, which is just a plugin for Chrome or Firefox. It's gonna take whatever requests were sent through the browser and put together a nice little list in your in your browser to tell you what technologies are being used. In this case, like we said, it's Linux, Apache, which is PHP, and WordPress. So from that point, I'd be using a tool called WP Scan, which would scan WordPress specifically for plugins or users. It also has the ability to brute force users, but I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you have permission. Everything else is pretty. Everything else that I said so far is non-intrusive. So make sure that when you are doing these things, you have permission. WP Scan is powerful for WordPress sites because if you include your API key, it will give you the links to, if let's say a plugin's out of date, it'll give you a link to the plugin's exploit or details about the CVE assigned to that plugin, and then the users assigned. So let's say one of the users was the web development company that made that site. I would then go on Google, do some Google dorking, and try to find other websites that web development company made, and see if they're vulnerable to the same thing. So one engagement may turn into 20 just by looking up, the company that made the website in the first place. So I mean, this is a difficult question to answer because there's so many different methods, but the simplest thing I can say is recon, and get very good at it. And once you know your attack surface, know what tool sets and know what you should be looking for. There is no such thing as a hack button out there where you just press a button and you're in. So you need to understand your attack surface, and then once you do, make the right steps towards achieving, permissions or unauthenticated access, or sensitive data disclosure, or whatever your goal is on that project.
Okay. So, suggest a mind map or path to become a hacker.
I think that comes from, I don't think that you could just become a hacker. I think that you're kind of born to be a hacker because it goes further than a computer. You could be a hacker and never touch a computer. In my eyes, I think somebody that is painting your house, if they find a way to paint the house differently than with a paintbrush, you're a hacker. So I think that it's a mindset more than a profession. I think that some people are born with the curiosity and they want to know why and how, and they want to break it and want to put it back together. And when they put it back together, sometimes it works better than it did when they got it. I think that mindset comes naturally and it can't be forced. So, besides that, let's say you do fit that criteria. I would recommend taking that curiosity and using the unlimited resources that are available to you nowadays on the computer, on the internet, my apologies. And and just do research, talk to people. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't think that because you're not an expert day one, that people are going to judge you. Just, be open, be willing to learn, be open-minded. And that's basically what I would suggest. Just try very hard.
Okay. So your tips to successful cybersecurity career?
I kind of already went over them, but I'll reiterate one more time. It's just grind and keep yourself motivated. Work with a company or if you do bug bounty, make sure you do programs that you enjoy. Don't do anything you don't enjoy. Like for me, I hate binary exploitation. I don't like reverse engineering. I don't like code analysis. I don't, those things I avoid because I just don't have fun doing them. So as for a career, let's say that was my job, I wouldn't be successful in it. I would fail because my curiosity and my drive would be gone. So I think it goes back to what I was just saying when you asked about the mind map, or path to become a hacker. I think it's just you need to be dedicated and you have to commit yourself 100% to this field, and you will be successful. It may not happen overnight, like I said originally, but it will happen.
Okay, all the questions are completed. So thanks for joining us today, and thanks for giving your valuable time.
Of course, and for you, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, right?
Yes, yes.
Wow, well, I appreciate you doing it this early for me, and if there's anything else you want to know, I'd be happy to answer. I'm not a speaker by any means, so trust me, I probably fumbled my words a million times here. It just I'm a hacker. I'm not a public speaker.
Okay. So, when I am conducting pen test on a website, so after enumeration, I'm with very good and lot of information about that site or that application. It really seems like a mess. So how will manage that stuff?
Okay, so I guess give me an example. What information is a mess? Your port scans, your subdomains, your directories that you found. What exactly is a mess?
All that information. How we use that information to hack that site.
Well, it depends on what you have, but let's say you found when you were directory brute forcing, you found an endpoint, a directory called /API, and
Okay.
you started fuzzing that directory API, and you find one called user. I would the first thing that I would do before I started fuzzing for more parameters would be to look. Have you ever heard of Wayback URLs or just using Wayback Machine in general?
Yeah.
So I would take that. I would take that endpoint and throw it through Wayback URLs, see if there's an older version. I would try to see if there's an older version of the API on the server still. So I would type let's say example.com/API/v1 instead of v2 or v3, and see if maybe there's an older version of that API available that is exposing more information.
Yes.
So that would be for directories. It's difficult to answer these questions because they're so, like, as you know, there's so many topics that
Yes.
that I don't know how to answer it, but I'm sure when you do recon, in the mostly what you're going to get back is a port scan. You're going to get directories on the web server, files that are discovered, subdomains, screenshots. I like to use a tool called Aquatone for screenshots, which also tells you the technologies on the server. It compares the screenshots as well for similarities. So it does a lot of the work for you, so you don't have to go to 300 websites one by one to see what's up and see what is identical. There's just it's a very diverse question, but I would say take a ton of notes and explore all options. Even though it may seem a little bit tedious, there's a lot of tools out there to simplify that mess that you're talking about. Aquatone is one of them. So if you have 300 subdomains, just put them in a text file, cat subdomains, pipe it into Aquatone, and then you'll have a nice, pretty folder with a HTML report with all your findings.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot for giving your valuable time. So I'm going to end the session here.
Yeah, no problem. And if you need anything else, obviously send me a message. And if anybody else is listening and needs help, feel free to message me on Twitter, Instagram. It's 0DayCTF on Twitter and just 0Day on Instagram.
Okay, I'll definitely suggest my subscribers to ask you doubts about this hacking career and all the stuff. So I'll definitely suggest your name as a mentor to them.
Yeah, please do. I would love to organize a group or speak to your subscribers. So that would be awesome.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good night, man.
Okay. Good night, bro.